A local paper now. We're going to the Bolton News, and this is a film that has caused something of an uproar in the community. Josh, you have the details on this?
Yes, so Bolton Cineworld had this film showing, which is called Our Lady in Heaven. It's not necessarily about, but it features the Prophet Muhammad's daughter. And there was a protest outside the cinema by about 50 to 100 men. They all seem men, I've seen from seeing the video footage, who are protesting it, saying it's offensive.
Right.
Few things that we need to get into here. First of all, why is the Bolton News the only newspaper that seems to be covering this? Because this seems to be quite a big deal.
Maybe because that's where it was showing?
No, but why is it the only newspaper that's covering it? When you've got a protest here of 100 men outside and they have managed to actually be successful in their endeavour to ban this film, that, for me, feels wrong. That's kowtowing to mob rule.
Well, actually, before you go on, let's just have a quick look. We've got a video clip, I believe, of the protesters. Can we see that?
Let him talk 1 minute!
I am the manager of this cinema, and I'm just confirming that this film is cancelled tonight. And for the rest of this week, we will not be showing this film again.
OK, and it's interesting, it's not just... Apparently, there have been other cinemas that have been affected. I think Birmingham Cineworld has also pulled it. So this, I think, is something that's going to be spreading because the film is very, very controversial. The only film review I've seen of it is in The Guardian. They gave it 2 stars, so it might be quite good.
I think it's more about... It's not necessarily just about the film. It's actually about what that holiday represents. For example, in Iran, this has been completely banned and deemed the usurper of Islam, right? So these are people who are seeking to reform Islam, and there's not too much known. There's not too much known about this whole thing because they've really tried to shield the information around this.
No, that's not true. Sorry,
it is true.
No, it's not true. What's happening is it's a sectarian thing. So it's not like some people have come along and made this offensive movie about Muhammad.
Yeah.
It's what it is a Shia-Sunni situation where the Sunnis are saying it's offensive because... I mean, I did actually read a book about 10 years. If I remember correctly, the schism there was about... it all went to, like, who was going to be the true followers of Islam from that, and it was all about the succession. So this is putting forward a Shia narrative. Yeah. And so it's offending Sunni.
Yes, and what I'm saying, it dates back before the movie, but the controversy isn't just...
Sure, but I'm just saying this isn't like some sort of Western portrayal of...
No,
or anything like that.
Well, OK, but let's talk more broadly about this, insofar as what does this suggest about artistic freedom and the freedom to reinterpret religious stories for artistic purposes? I mean, we go back to The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie, which is a fantastic book, and it does draw on the story of the Prophet, although it does not refer to him by the same name, gives him a different name, the characters are named differently. And a lot of people, I mean, there were people burning that book on the streets of Bradford, people who hadn't read the book or attempted to engage or understand the book. So what is... Well, go back all the way to Life of Brian. Lots of people were very angry about...
Or Protestants versus Catholics.
Right. This is a perennial thing. So don't we think, though, that artists and filmmakers and auteurs should have the right to use whatever material in whatever way they want? And if people are upset because it offends their religion, they can choose not to watch the film.
I think when we talk about reinterpretation of people's belief system...
Yeah, but it's not reinterpretation, it's their interpretation, and it goes against the counter-narrative. I'm just saying that this particular incident...
Well, let's hear Dana's view on this point, particularly.
It was specifically to your point.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, like artist expression and reinterpretation of religion, people live their lives by these rules, right?
Sure.
So a lot of people will not accept any sort of reinterpretation, especially when we talk about Islam. Islam is one of the books that has not, like, if you look at the Bible, for example, how many different versions of the Bible are there? There's King James Version, there's a new interpreted version. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been translated so many times, people start to say, well, what is the message if we can keep, if it keeps evolving in this way? That is the one thing about Islam that hasn't changed, is the Quran has stayed the same.
I suppose the question is, recognising the fierce traditionalism within the religion, should even that not be open for ridicule, even mockery, reinterpretation by artists and comedians? Isn't that a right of everyone to do?
It should be a right in a free society, but that isn't even what is happening here. This isn't about ridiculing Muhammad in any way. This is about a different sect of Islam.
No one
having
has
a different...
suggested that, by the way.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that would... when you see mobs of men chanting Allah Akbar for them winning their thing, and you think, oh, is this like someone's come in with some Charlie Hebdo sort of caricature or something like that? No, this
and it isn't that in this case.
No, not at all. This was a film that was made to promote religious diversity, whether they've succeeded or not. They've been respectful. They're made by Muslims. It was made, according to Islamic law in terms of not showing Muhammad.
I think the controversy is about the prophet Farhat ul-Zahra.
Yes.
That's the controversy.
So, yeah, but, I was sort of suggesting that irrespective of, I think you're right, your account of the film is correct. But even if it had gone out of its way to mock, I do think it should be able to.
No, absolutely. But, what's scary for me is watching that video further where the guy with the microphones out in front of the cinema, and then he just says, it wasn't my decision, it was the central office's decision to play here. I totally agree with what you're saying. I mean, it was just total capitulation.
You think it's intimidation, then, basically?
I think it is intimidation, and I think for them to go along...
He's probably terrified.
Well, I'm sure he is terrified, and he shouldn't be put in that position.
Yeah.
It's wrong. There, by the way, no police there.
No.
Well, it's wrong.
You know who should have been there? You.
Yeah. Well, Josh has strong...